Have you ever looked at someone who has gone through illness, loss, financial setbacks, and yet they still smile in a gentle, relaxed way, as if life has not crushed them but polished them? And then looked at another person who has a decent job, a stable home, food on the table, and yet their face is always tight, their heart always heavy, easily shattered by the smallest inconvenience. Have you ever quietly asked yourself why there is such a huge difference between how people carry their lives, even when their outer situations do not look that different? Welcome back to this space. Today we are going to talk about something that almost everyone ignores, but it silently shapes everything about your destiny, your habits of mind. The invisible tendencies that Buddhism calls karmic habits, the patterns you repeat so often that they become the default setting of your life. This is not about small surface habits like whether you drink coffee or tea. It is about how you react when someone criticizes you, how you interpret a delay, how you respond when plans collapse, how you speak when you are hurt, how you inwardly explain every experience to yourself. A great teacher once said that accumulating wholesome habits of mind is more important than chasing blessings. People think destiny is written in the stars, but in Buddhist wisdom, destiny is written in the grooves of your own heart. It is written in the way you think, feel, and react over and over again. Your future is not a random movie being played to you. It is being edited, frame by frame, by what you choose to repeat today. So in this long conversation, I want to walk with you like a friend, telling stories, asking questions, and gently inviting you to look at the habits that lie underneath your suffering and your joy. We will talk about why some people get lighter as they age while others get heavier, why some lives feel more and more open where others feel more and more trapped, and how you can begin, starting from this very day, to plant new habits of mind that slowly but surely bend your destiny toward peace instead of pressure. Imagine two people standing at the same crossroads in life. They are both around the same age, both with similar jobs, both facing similar stress. One is named Em, the other is named Daniel. On the outside, if you check their paychecks, their housing, their families, there is no huge gap. Both have enough to eat, a place to sleep, and a network of friends. But if you look inside, it feels like they live in different universes. Emma wakes up every morning with a sense of weight. Even before he opens her eyes, her mind is already listing problems. The email she has to answer, the bill she has to pay, the thing your coworker said last week, the comment her mother made years ago. Her inner dialogue begins with what if, and past should have, and why is it always like this? She scrolls on her phone, sees someone else's happy vacation photos, and instantly feels that her life is lacking. Whenever something goes wrong, her first thought is, did I mess up again? Is it because I am not good enough? When someone cancels plans, she silently concludes, they do not really like me. When work is busy, she tells herself, my life is harder than everyone else's. You could say that her habit is to interpret almost everything as an attack, a burden, a sign of your inadequacy. I'll look at Daniel. He also wakes up with responsibilities. He has deadlines, family obligations, and unresolved issues. But his habits of mind are different. When something goes wrong, his first thought is often, this is annoying, but it is not the end of the world. I can handle it step by step. When someone cancels, he thinks, they must be tired or busy. Let us find another time. When things pile up at work, he sighs, maybe complains for a moment. But then he says to himself, one thing at a time. Have been through stress before. I can get through this too. His habit is to interpret events with space and perspective. Over months and years, these different inner reactions quietly create two very different lives. Emma feels more and more exhausted. Every difficulty is heavy because she not only deals with the event itself, but also with the story she layers on top. This always happens to me. F is against me. Am not enough. Her nervous system is constantly on edge. She cannot rest even when nothing is urgently wrong. She lives in a kind of chronic inner emergency. And you'll also experience his difficulties, but they do not accumulate in the same way. He feels frustration, sadness, and worry. But he does not pile self-blame and catastrophe thinking on top of every event. His nervous system gets stressed and then recovers. He has the inner habit of giving himself and others some understanding. From the outside, someone might say he is just a more positive person. But in spiritual language, we would say he has accumulated more wholesome habits of mind. His inner grooves tilt toward patience, flexibility, and perspective, while Emma's grooves tilt toward self-attack, fear, and resentment. When you hear the word habit, you might think of brushing your teeth or checking your phone. In Buddhism, habit goes much deeper. Habits of mind are the tracks your consciousness runs along. Every time you react in the same way, you deepen that track. Eventually, your reactions feel automatic. You do not choose them, they choose you. If your habit is to complain, then at the slightest discomfort, your mind will grab that track. If your habit is to blame yourself, then any conflict triggers a wave of shame. If your habit is to evade, then any pressure pushes you into escape mode. You may think, that is just my personality. But often, what you call personality is actually layers and layers of habits hardened over time. Think of a river flowing down a mountain. First, the water can flow anywhere. Over time, as it repeatedly passes along certain paths, it carves channels. These channels grow deeper and deeper. Future water almost has no choice. It falls into the same channels. Habits are like those channels in your mind. Imagine that every thought, every reaction, every word is a drop of water. Which channels are you feeding every day? Which grooves are you making deeper? If you repeatedly respond to stress with anger, you are digging the anger channel deeper. If you repeatedly respond with patience, you are deepening the patience channel. From this point of view, your destiny tomorrow is largely the sum of the channels you dig today. You are not just living your fate, you are living your habits. This is why you may feel like you encounter the same pattern again and again. You might find yourself always meeting similar partners, different faces, similar emotional dynamics. You might change jobs but end up in similar conflicts. You might move cities but still feel bullied by the same inner voices. It is not that you are cursed. It is that you carry your habits with you like a suitcase, and those habits filter what you notice, how you respond, and what kind of situations you unconsciously recreate. If you sometimes feel like you are playing the same painful scene again and again, no matter how much you try to change circumstances, then this teaching is talking directly to you. You might have asked yourself questions like these. And I always end up in relationships where I feel not enough. And I always lose my temper in similar ways even though I regret it every time. And I always procrastinate until pressure becomes unbearable. And I always feel rejected, even when people say they care. Why does my life feel like a loop, where I circle through the same arguments, the same disappointments, the same self-hatred? The answer is often not out there. The answer is in your habits of mind. Let us look at a very simple, everyday situation that reveals how habits work. Imagine a woman named Sarah. She grew up in a family where mistakes were often met with criticism. Whenever she dropped something, forgot something, or brought home a less than perfect report, one of her parents would sigh and say, "What is wrong with you? Why can you not be like so-and-so? You always mess up." The child, he did not know how to defend herself. She believed the words. Slowly she built a habit of thinking, if something goes wrong, it must be my fault. Someone is unhappy. It must be because I did something wrong. I'm always the problem. Decades later, as an adult, this habit sits quietly in your subconscious. She might be successful in your work, liked by friends, and still, the own track is there. One day, her manager sends her a short message: "We need to talk tomorrow about the report." That is all. No extra words. Immediately, our habit wakes up. Our mind fills in the blanks. I must have done something wrong. Maybe I am going to be fired. And I was not really good. Always mess things up. He spends the whole night anxious, replaying everything she did. She can barely sleep. In the morning she is exhausted and irritable. In the meeting, the manager actually says, the report was solid. I just want to adjust one section and discuss how we can present this to the client. That is all. A disaster. Your long list of mistakes. But her habit has already created a night of suffering. Imagine another person in the same situation. Someone whose habits were shaped differently. Maybe they grew up in a family where mistakes were treated as normal and fixable. Our inner track says, if something is wrong, it can be discussed and improved. They receive the same message, we need to talk tomorrow about the report. Their mind says, call right. There must be something to adjust. I will find out tomorrow. They might feel a little nervous, but then they let it go and sleep. The objective event is the same. The form is the same. The difference is the invisible habit of mind that interprets it. For one, the habit is I'm always wrong. For the other, the habit is I can handle adjustments. What do you think will feel lighter as the years go by? This example may seem small, but multiply it by hundreds and thousands of moments over many years, and it becomes the difference between a life lived under constant self-attack and a life lived with relative inner stability. Let us be honest, most of us have at least some heavy habits. Maybe yours are not as obvious as hers, but if you listen closely to your inner voice, you will notice repeated patterns. Perhaps your habit is to complain about everything: the weather, the traffic, your coworkers, your family. Complaining becomes your default reaction. Even on relatively good days, your mind searches for what is wrong. That habit creates a constant sense of scarcity, even if your actual conditions are not that bad. Perhaps your habit is to compare. You look at someone else's income, body, relationship, or spiritual practice and immediately measure yourself against them. Either you feel inferior or superior. In both cases, there is no real peace, only competition and tension. Perhaps your habit is to catastrophize. Every small problem feels like the beginning of the end. A late reply means someone hates you. Bill means you will be ruined. A tired day means you are losing your value. Perhaps your habit is to avoid. Whenever discomfort rises, you run to distraction: food, scrolling, entertainment. You have trained yourself not to stay with anything unpleasant for more than a few seconds. The result is that your capacity to bear difficulty becomes weaker and weaker. You do not need to hate yourself for these habits. They were formed over years through your history, your wounds, your environment. But if you never become aware of them, they will quietly run your life, like a shadow director behind the scenes. Buddhist wisdom says that karma is not only about external actions, like what you do with your hands. It is also, and more importantly, about mental habits. Single angry outburst is one thing. Lifetime of feeding anger as the main response to difficulty is another. Lighter becomes part of your karmic pattern, drawing certain situations to you and shaping your perception of everything. Here is the crucial point: your habits of mind are powerful, but they are not fixed. They were built by repetition, and they can be changed by different repetition. If you always think, I cannot change, this is just who I am, that thought itself is a habit. It is like closing the window from the inside and then saying there is no fresh air available. Change does not begin with traumatic thoughts. It begins with seeing clearly. Take a moment to reflect. When something unpleasant happens, what is your first thought, your first reaction? You blame others. You blame yourself. You assume the worst. You numb it. Whatever comes first, that is your current habit. Do not argue with it. Do not cover it with positive slogans. Just notice it honestly. Once you see it, you can start to work with it. There is a gentle but powerful principle. If you want your destiny to feel lighter, you must slowly replace heavy habits of mind with lighter ones. You cannot wait for life to become perfect before you feel at peace. You have to train your inner responses so that even when life is not perfect, your heart does not immediately fall apart. Let us return to Emma, the woman whose first reaction to any problem is I am not good enough. Suppose one day she decides, I cannot live like this anymore, and tired of carrying this stone on my chest. Want to change my habits. A first step for her is not to suddenly love herself. That would be unrealistic. A first step is to interrupt the automatic track. For example, the next time something goes wrong and her old thought arises, I messed up again. It is all my fault. She can practice adding one more sentence that feels like it is all my fault, but maybe this is just my old habit speaking. Maybe there are other factors here. At first, this new sentence will feel forced. It will be a tiny voice compared to the roaring habit, but if she practices it again and again, each time she catches herself going down the familiar spiral, a new small channel begins to form. The same applies to someone whose habit is anger. Imagine you always react with harsh words when you feel misunderstood. That habit channel is deep. The next time the trigger appears, before you open your mouth, you can practice taking one breath and silently saying, I am angry. Want to shut up. I know this is my habit. And I wait 3 seconds. 3 seconds is not much, but it is enough to create a crack in the wall of automatic reaction. In that crack, a different choice can appear. You might still shut, but even if you fail half the time, the other half you will gradually discover that the world does not end when you pause. You will see that another response is actually possible. That discovery is extremely important. As you repeat this, the anger channel slowly gets less deep, and another channel, perhaps of clarity or restraint, begins to form. In Buddhist practice, this is called transforming habit. It is not instant. It is more like retraining a wild animal. You do not beat it into obedience. You guide it again and again, patiently, consistently. This is also where spirituality and psychology meet. Modern psychology talks about patterns, conditioning, subconscious beliefs. Spiritual practice talks about karmic imprints, samskaras, or deeply ingrained tendencies. They are pointing to the same territory, the inner field where seeds grow into reactions. From the perspective of karma, each moment you choose a new, wholesome response, you plant a new seed. That seed may be tiny, but seeds do not stay tiny. They grow. Think about it this way: every time you complain, you are putting a small stone on your pack. Every time you practice gratitude, you are putting a small feather in your pocket. For years, which will weigh more? Every time you explode in anger, you are pouring a cup of poison into your own cup. Every time you pause and choose a calmer response, you are pouring in a cup of clean water. At first, the poison is strong. But if you keep adding clean water, eventually the taste changes. This is not poetic fantasy. It is how your nervous system actually works. The more often you practice a certain emotional response, the more your brain and body wire themselves to repeat it. So if you want to be one of those people who seem to grow lighter with age, someone whose face and eyes carry a calm warmth rather than tight bitterness, ask yourself honestly, what habits am I rehearsing today? When something inconvenient happens, do you always say, of course, this always happens to me? If so, you are rehearsing a habit of victimhood. When you see someone doing well, do you always think that they do not deserve it, or I will never be like them? Then you are rehearsing envy. When you make a mistake, do you always say, I am useless, I am hopeless? Then you are rehearsing self-hatred. You cannot expect a light destiny where every day you rehearse heavy reactions. Do not be discouraged. The beautiful truth is that you do not have to become a saint to change your life. You just have to make small, different choices again and again. If your habit is to complain, you can start by choosing one moment each day to say a thank you instead. Not as a fake mask, but as a genuine recognition of something that is actually okay. If your habit is to blame yourself for everything, you can start by occasionally saying, this is not only about me. There are other causes too. If your habit is to avoid all discomfort, you can practice staying with a mild frustration for an extra minute instead of immediately escaping. If your habit is to attack when you are hurt, you can practice simply naming your hurt without lashing out. These are the seeds of different futures. As you do this, something else starts to grow: wisdom. You begin to see that your suffering was never only about the events that happened. It was about the way your habits interpreted and reacted to those events. Two people can go through the same loss, but one is completely destroyed where the other is deeply sad yet somehow peaceful. The difference is not in their moral worth. The difference is in the inner training they have done, or not done, with their own habits of mind. When you realize this, you stop waiting for life to become easier and start working on becoming wiser. This does not mean that outer conditions do not matter. Of course they do. Poverty, illness, violence, and injustice are real and painful. We should do whatever we can to relieve those. But even as we work to improve outer conditions, we cannot ignore the inner habits that determine how we experience those conditions. Some people mistakenly think that spiritual practice means ignoring real problems. That is not true. It means facing problems without adding extra suffering on top. It means changing the one thing you can always work with: your own mind. As you slowly accumulate wholesome habits of patience, clarity, compassion, and perspective, you begin to feel a quiet strength inside. The sin difficulties that once made you collapse make you pause, breathe, and respond more skillfully. You still feel pain, but it does not own you in the same way. You still get angry, but you do not let it drive your life for as long. You still feel fear, but you are less willing to obey its every command. This is what it means to grow lighter. It is not that your life is perfect. It is that your heart is less tangled in every storm. One day, you may look back and realize that things which used to break you now only bend you. Situations that used to dominate your thoughts for weeks now pass more quickly. You might notice that your relationships feel less suffocating because you are not always reacting from wounded habits. You might notice that your work feels less like a battlefield because you have stopped turning every issue into a personal attack. You might notice that your nights are quieter because your mind is not as addicted to rehearsing worst-case scenarios. At that point, you will understand what it truly means to say that destiny lies in your habits, not in some external script. As we move toward the close of this sharing, I want to invite you to do something simple but profound. Think of one heavy habit of mind that troubles you the most. Maybe it is an anger that explodes too easily. Maybe it is constant self-doubt. Maybe it is the tendency to complain. Maybe it is chronic comparison, or the habit of running away from every feeling. Aim it clearly in your mind. Do not hate it, just see it. And choose one small, specific way you will respond differently next time this habit rises. If your habit is to complain as soon as you wake up, you might decide, at tomorrow morning, before I complain, I will first name one thing I am grateful for, even if it is small. If your habit is to lash out when criticized, you might decide, the next time someone criticizes me, I will wait 3 breaths before answering. If your habit is to think I'm hopeless whenever you make a mistake, you might decide, next time I think that, I will add, if this is just an old habit speaking, I can learn from this. Do not try to change everything at once. That only leads to burnout. Pick one habit, one tiny new response, and then practice it again and again. If you want, you can write it down. Treat it like a seed you are planting today for the future version of you. In a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, that future you will be living in the garden that grows from today's seeds. It may look back and silently thank you for starting now, for not giving up, for believing that your habits are not chains but clay that can be reshaped with patience. You do not need to do this alone. You can bring your practice, your prayers, your spiritual teachings into this process. You can ask for strength to choose the wiser response, to see your patterns clearly, to hold yourself with compassion even as you change. And as your habits soften, you will naturally become more compassionate toward others. You will see that their hurtful behaviors also come from habits, from old pain, from fear. This understanding does not excuse harmful actions, but it helps you respond with more clarity and less vengeance. Bit by bit, your life will feel less like a prison built by your own reactions, and more like a path where each step, even the hard ones, can be used for awakening. If today's sharing touched something in you, if you felt yourself recognizing your own habits in the stories, I invite you to sit for a moment after this ends and ask yourself, what kind of habits do I want my future self to live with? What kind of grooves do I want to deepen starting now? And if you feel comfortable, you can share in the comments what habit you most want to transform and what small new response you are willing to try. Sometimes seeing that others are fighting similar inner battles gives us strength. Sometimes one person's decision to change becomes a mirror that encourages others. If this content helped your heart feel a little clearer, a little braver, please remember to subscribe, to like, and to share it with someone who might be quietly drowning in their own habits without knowing that they can be changed. Your support helps keep this space alive as a place where we can talk honestly about awakening, wisdom, karma, compassion, and the very real work of turning heavy habits into lighter ones. Thank you for giving your time to your own heart, and for walking through this long reflection with me. You begin today to plant wholesome habits of mind. Your reactions grow more wise, your choices more compassionate, and your inner weight more and more light. You, step by step, walk from a life ruled by unconscious patterns into a life guided by conscious, loving awareness.
There comes a time when you realize you want something that belongs just to you. Something that brings comfort and keeps you connected to your inner world. Wall-crafted bracelet does exactly that. Quietly, softly, and consistently. If you felt drawn to any bracelet in this video, you'll find the purchase link in the video description and many more options in the channel storefront. Because sometimes the smallest item can bring the biggest sense of peace.